Welcome back. This time we're going to have our first video on programming. Okay? And we're going to start with the print statement. Very famous. Almost every program you write will have a print statement in it. So, let's learn about the print statement. Okay? So, File, New, and Print. Now, as I mentioned before, so you put in a double quote, it will put another double quote. So let's print hi. Now what a print statement does, it starts at the double quote and it will print everything until the next double quote. Now it doesn't have to be a double quote. You can also do the same thing with a single quote. Okay? Now let's check that. Okay? Let's save this. Okay, D, programming, Python, learning, and let's call this print or print1. Okay, .py. All right, now let's file open, D, programming, Python, learning, and print1. Okay, and again check module, run module. Okay, now as you can see they both worked. Now let me ask you this, can you think of a reason why they would allow both double quote and a single quote to work with print? Think about that for a few seconds. Okay, why? I mean, why not just say you have to use double quote or you have to use single quote? Why allow the option? To me it sounds like, you know, have another option for plus 2 plus 3. You can also put an ampersand. Okay, you can't. Okay, but anyway, why allow it? Let me give you a hint. Let's say you're using Python to print a book. I wouldn't suggest it. Okay, but let's say it's a novel. I'll give you a hint. He said, she said. Okay, and can't, won't, she'll. Alright, so hopefully you get the idea that you sometimes want to put in, let's say she, let's do she'll. Okay, so with the double quote it will print everything from this first double quote to the second double quote, including that little tick mark. Okay, now what happens if I do something like this? He said I want to go to the store. Okay, well, there's going to be a problem here. Okay, can you see what the problem is? Alright, let's save that and file, new file. Let's close this one and open, print. Okay, run, check module. Oops, it's got a problem. Invalid syntax. I've got an I here, but I'm not printing it. Why? Oops, so you can't see that. Sorry. Invalid syntax. It has an I here, but I'm not printing it. Why not? I see a double quote here, but remember that double quote goes with that double quote, so this I is outside of the double quotes. Okay, so you can fix that by changing that double quote to a single quote. Okay, now let's try it again. File, new file. Let's close this one. File, open, and print. Run, check module. Hey, it says it works fine. Run program. He said I want to go to the store, so it worked fine. Okay, good. Now let me show you some other things you can do. Actually, Let's wait for the other stuff. Okay, so there are some other things we can do. We don't have to stop at just one print. For example, hello world. Okay. Now let's try hello. And let's put a space here. Let's try again. Hello world. Let's try putting a space here. This time, hello, comma. Again, this time putting a comma. And let's put a space here. Again, this time putting a plus. And again, let's put a space. Okay? Save. Alright, now let's see what happens. File, new file. File, open. Programming. Python. Learning. Print. Okay. Oops. I typed it in here. Okay. So let's go ahead and run it from here. Check module. Okay. Now it worked in here because there's no tabbing. Well, I'll show you why you shouldn't use these mixing later. Okay. But anyway, run module. Okay. Now let's take a look. Let's put this here and this. Let's go ahead and shrink this down so you can see both. Alright. Hello world. You have the stop quote mark, start quote mark. Okay, so it's going to put them together. It's called concatenation. Okay, next one. You put a space between the double quote. Well, look, it ignored it. Why? Because a space is a character, but the character was not inside a double quote, so it was ignored. So you could put a whole bunch of these spaces and it's going to ignore all of those. Okay, next, hello world with a space. That's because I put a space after that double quote. Okay, next, hello world with a space. That came from this comma. Okay, now the next one, hello with two spaces. That came from the comma and this space. Hello world, no spaces. That came from the plus. So this plus is the same up here. Okay, and then hello world with a space. Okay, that came from this plus, which is no spaces, but here is space. Okay, alright, now what I want to do, let's see, no. Okay, now I'm going to create a new one here. Let's call it print2. Oh, we'll save it as print2. Okay, well, let's go back and look at our first one here. Okay, let's remind ourselves. Quote, quote will not add any spaces whatsoever. Okay, adding spaces between quotes will not add any spaces. Adding a space inside of double quotes will add space. Putting a comma will add one space. Putting a space right here after the double quote will add an extra space because we already get one space for the comma. A plus sign, it's also concatenation. It's a better concatenation than nothing. Okay, but anyway, and then the plus sign with the space here. Okay, so this one gives us space. So remember that you have nothing, just double quote, double quote. You have a comma, and you have plus sign. Okay, those are the three basic ones that most people use. Okay, Alright, so let's go ahead and close this. I don't care about that. Nah. Now, let's take a look at print 5. That's a number. That is not a character. Okay? Now, we can do something like this. Hello. The question is, can we do something like this? Can we print that 5 there? Now let's try something here. 3 plus 5. Will it print 3 and then put a space and then 5? Well, let's find out. What does it do? Okay. File, save as. Okay. This time we're going to call it print 2. Save. Okay. File, new file. File, open. Programming, Python, learning, and print 2. Okay. Now run check module. Okay. It says everything's okay. So let's try run. Oops, we got a problem here. Can't convert int to string implicitly. Okay, so what that means is we cannot try to print a string and an int together. Okay, so let's go ahead and get rid of that. I'm going to put a pound sign here. This pound sign means comment. Okay, it's like instructions, or just leave it out for right now. Okay, so I'm going to just put a pound sign here, and now I'm going to save again and run it. Okay, so it prints the number 5, it prints the hello, which is a string, and then it prints a number 8, because the plus sign here was the math plus sign, not the concatenation of a string. Okay, now what I want you to do, I got homework for you here. I want you to practice. Programming is all about practice. I want you to do all kinds of things. For example, print hello plus hi, single quote, you know, put in some numbers here or whatever and see what happens. Just put a whole bunch of print statements here and see what happens. Okay, it's called practice. See what you get when you try to combine a bunch of stuff together. Okay, and notice different prints will create different lines. Okay, so that will be printed on one line and this will be printed on another line. Okay, so that is your first homework assignment, is to just practice. Put in a bunch of ticks, double quote marks, pluses, commas, and just try out the print command. See what you get. Okay, and then I want you to practice with writing out, my doctor said, quote, don't take this medicine when you go to bed, end quote. Okay, make sure you can handle the different printings, okay, with the quotes and single quotes, and I'll show you some more advanced techniques in the next video. Okay, thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye bye.